Hi there. Hey everybody, good morning. Good morning. I'm Todd Nauck, professional comic book artist. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So glad you're here. It's another week of everyone staying at home, protecting ourselves from the coronavirus as best as possible. So if you're home from work, if you're home from school, thanks for joining me. And if you watch this on replay, thanks for watching me on replay as well. So hopefully everyone's staying safe and healthy. We are continuing the Post-it Pop Art series. So today I'm going to draw Plastic Man, DC, super stretchy sleuth Plastic Man. Eel O'Brien. We're going to draw him on this very light gray. This is borderline white. It's kind of hard to tell over the video, but this is actually a very light gray Post-it note. Though here, as I'm looking at it on the screen, it almost translates as white. So probably going to use some colors very true to what I'd use on white paper because of the lightness of this color of Post-it I've chosen for today. So gang, I'm going to draw, share some tips and tricks, and I'll try to respond to any comments and questions while I'm drawing. So I'm so glad you're here. Hope we have some fun today. Let's flip the camera around and let's get drawing. All right, just do the old plug back into the rig and we can get started. Feel free to draw with whatever you have. You don't have to draw on Post-its. You don't have to use the same tools I'm using. So just draw with whatever you have on hand. The main thing here is to have fun. And let's see, how long will this take? My Post-it videos usually average about 30 minutes. Best place to order these color Post-it notes? I get mine from Staples. Staples office supply store. So I'd say go check their website. They had a really great sale on multi-packs a while back, and I stocked up. So let's see. I'm using my, as always, Uni Kurotoga 0.3 mechanical pencil with HB lead. HB is the softness of the lead. Not too hard, not too soft. It's the middle. It's like in between. H is hard, B is soft. I don't know why the letter B means soft. Wouldn't it be S for soft? I'm sure it goes way back in the day historically, but B means soft, so the greater the number, so a 2H is hard, but a 6H is harder, a 2B is soft, but a 6B is very, very soft. Too soft for my taste because it leaves too much graphite on the paper. That's why I like the HB. It's a good, it's a good amount of graphite. Works for me. Okay, so we got our basic circle to start the skull. We're doing a kind of a 3/4 view. So we're bringing the jawline down. We have the center line there, the side of his head, the eye line kind of cuts through there, nose line, and the mouth line. Now with Plastic Man, he's kind of got a strong jaw, but he's also got a kind of a slender face. So I want to keep those two elements in mind. I don't want it to come too far down and over. I don't want it to look like a Superman jaw, but I don't want it to look like a weak jaw. So there's a lot to think about there to try to achieve that Plastic Man-y sort of silliness, but heroism. Start to work in the neck. Be a long, slender neck, but we don't want it too skinny, but we don't want it too muscular for his just regular look. So keeping in mind his 3/4 view, so it's not gonna, the neck's not gonna come on this side of the jaw. We're gonna adjust for the angle of the face, that one little neck muscle there. Then his eyes would be right here, though we will not see his eyes because he has those big goggles. For a slender guy, he doesn't have a long nose like Ralph Dibny from the Justice League Europe. The elongated man. He's got a long, twitchy nose, but Plastic Man, not so much. Gonna give him his big smirky smile. And then he's got these big, kind of Elvis-like shades, but well before Elvis was even around, because I think we had Plastic Man I mean, I wasn't alive back then when Plastic Man, nor when Elvis debuted, but he's got these big old shades. Yes, Plastic Man was a thief. He was a shady guy. Eel O'Brien is his real name, and he was a shady guy. And then somehow he got his Plastic Man powers. I can't remember how he became Plastic Man, but then that's when he became a hero. A lot of superheroes actually started off as bad guys. Hawkeye, the Vision, Wonder Man, Rogue from the X-Men. That started off as bad guys and then became good guys. So we got kind of his hair is slicked back in a very vintage sort of way. There's some kind of a wave to it a little bit, but it slicks back, and then he's got that curly Q. Find the best way to cut that shape. As I've mentioned in my previous posted videos, hopefully y'all been watching all last week and into this week, like with Wonder Man and with Valkyrie, how I talk about I do the chunky shapes, and then from there I can put in the more singular strands. Giving a little recess to Plastic Man's hairline. With his little spit curl that kind of has pulled away from the bunch, you can have that flipping and flowing in all sorts of directions, depending on what he's doing or what's going on. We got some big black shadow inside of his lenses. We'll have some pull, some facial muscle pull. Maybe a little furrow of the brow, not his eyebrow, but the brow, to convey a little bit of emotion. Okay. You were introduced to him through the animation so long time ago. Yes, that's how I first learned about Plastic Man as well, was the Saturday morning cartoon of the, gosh, I want to say it was either the late 70s or the early 80s. I was just a little kid then, but that's where I first learned about Plastic Man too. So we're gonna ink Plastic Man with colored microns. So we're gonna start with some black here. We're gonna get his hair going first. So we're going to do that spit curl first because it overlaps everything else. We're just going to get the major chunks and the strands going first. Then we'll add the black sections momentarily. This is kind of our frame for the black hair. Considering the wave of the hair and how it pulls to the hairline, or away from the hairline, depending on which direction I'm pulling my pen. And mind you, this has taken me a lot of study, a lot of practice. So if it's not quite working right for you, if you're drawing along right now or giving it a try, that's okay. Keep practicing. We rarely get it the first time out. Keep giving it a go. Need that repetition, build up that muscle memory. It's like solving a puzzle, you know, trying to fit the shapes together and think about how those shapes might go depending on the angle you're drawing that character. It's always going to be a challenge, no matter how proficient you get at it. There'll always be a challenge. Okay, so next up we're going to do his shades, and for those I'm going to try, because they're silver, I'm going to try a dark blue. Now I'm using colored microns to kind of give him an even more plasticky feel. If everything was to use black, it'd be very like that is the reality, but with everything will look the same. But if I use colored microns, maybe we can pull off kind of a sense that things look a little more plasticky. We'll also try pulling that off with the marker colors as well. This is kind of what we call a line hold, a color line hold, when the colorists digitally make the line art a different color than black, often used for special effects like energy effects, fire, speed lines, motion lines. Sometimes certain types of hair, like a blonde character, they'll knock the line art to a very dark shade of yellow or tan. Sometimes they do it with a skin tone to kind of soften up the character, where the black lines kind of convey more of a hard line. The color line can soften things up or create something a little more organic. And then for the lenses, I'm having to keep his nose is overlapping his shades here, so I'm trying to keep in mind, don't ink that with dark blue. That's the wrong choice. Whatever is overlapping is the main shape, so it needs the main color of line. Now, if you don't have colored microns, please ink your illustration, or if you're even bothering to ink your illustration, just do it with what you have. Do it with what you're working with and the way you want or need to illustrate your character. Whether it be Plastic Man, or if you're drawing someone else, if you're drawing Elongated Man, if you're drawing Mr. Fantastic. Now drawing the dark spots, essentially this is the reflection. Kind of his lenses are reflecting the world around him in a but in a very dark way, like the darkness of the lens. So there's like the highlight. Running through the center there. Okay, so that takes care of his lenses. I'm going to come back here and I'm going to bring a little more hair down, like a little bit of a sideburn with the black micron right there. Now because of his skin tone, I'm going to use a shade of brown. So I can use a brown micron to convey his skin. A little furrow of his brow there, like he's checking something out. Let's see, get that smile going. I'm really letting that smile pull across his face. Show a little bit of teeth there. Get that bottom lip going. Got his outer cheek and chin. Sculpting in a little bit a heavier line at the bottom of the chin because it's further away from the light source, because we just assume the light is coming from above. A little heavier on the bottom part of the chin and jaw. Creates a sense of shadow, can help create depth. Right there where the jaw tucks to the neck muscle, a little darker there under the earlobe, can create a sense of lift of his face off and away from his neck. So this is where the thicks and thins can really come in handy. And a couple of key things to think about is, where's your light source? What's closer to the light could have a thinner line. What's further away from the light could have a thicker line. Thicker line to convey shadow, a lighter line to convey that's where the light is hitting, so it's shining on that part. Now, mind you, these are rules of thumb. It's not always this way 100% of the time. There are exceptions as we go. And sometimes those exceptions are made, or you discover those exceptions as you become more proficient at your inking, and you realize where logically maybe this should be a thicker line, but I'm going to use a thinner line because I'm actually needing to convey distance, or I need a thicker line here because it needs to be more in the foreground. So it doesn't only convey light and shadow, it also conveys depth. Thicker lines for things in the foreground, thinner lines can help convey something further in the background. So there are multiple things we have to think about when we're choosing our line weights. All right, going to go back to that black micron here and just put a little bit of hair running down the back of his neck. Now we do need to put some black in his hair here, but before we do that, I want to erase. So I'm using my Staedtler Mars plastic eraser. Just going to wipe out all these construction lines. That's the job of the pencils, is just to set us up with the information we need to do the finished inked lines. This is not about doing a perfect pencil drawing. The pencils sketch lines are just there to give me the information I need to make my choices with the inks, because finished inks is where I'm going. I don't want to spend a lot of time penciling so tightly that I'm just going to end up obliterating it all with my eraser because I've just finished the inks. So now I'm going to come in with my Zebra brush pen using the medium here. You can get this, I think you can still get these at the Daiso Japan store. So if you live in an area that has Daiso Japan stores, you can get those there for $1.50 each. It's a great price. I don't know if those stores are open. I mean, I'm not really doing much shopping right nowadays, but you can also purchase them online. So if you search Zebra brush pen, the barrel of the brush pen does not convey the color inside. It's all black ink. The gray barrel is the medium, the black barrel is the broad tip, and the blue barrel pen is the fine tip. I usually use the medium and the fine. I don't really get the broad anymore. Just found I didn't really utilize it that much. That might change, but mostly I just get the medium, and I get the fine whenever I can find it. So now on each of these chunks, I'm just putting some black at the front of his hair, the base, near the root of the hair. I'm keeping in mind, what is this invisible? For me, it's invisible because I've done it so many times, but there's like this ring of highlight in his hair. So there'll be black on the inside and on the outside, and in the middle, I keep it open to convey that reflected light, that highlight in his hair. I'm not getting too strandy with it because I want it to really convey a plasticky sort of feel, almost like it's a sculpted plastic hair, because I would assume even his hair has a plasticky texture to it. Like every aspect of his person is plastic, is moldable, is shapeable. His hair molds and shapes with whatever he molds himself into, so there's got to be a somewhat plastic aspect to it. So it's almost like one of those little plastic Halloween wigs, you know? Have you seen those? Where it's a big, just a hunky chunk of latex wig sort of thing. And there we go. All right, so now we can move into the Copic marker colors. I'm using Copic markers. You feel free to use whatever you have on hand. But I will call out the Copic color codes just in case those who are also coloring with Copics want to know what codes I'm using. It's just kind of a habit I have done with all my Copic marker videos. So I'm starting with some E01. I'm going to work from dark to light. I'm going to leave a lot of open paper area because I want to really give him a shiny plastic feel. Like his skin is made of like polyurethane or something like that. So I'm considering the places the light would hit, like on the top of his cheeks, on the top of his lip, but underneath his lip would have color. Bottom of his chin. Very similar to what I do with my other Post-its illustrations, but just really taking advantage of how shiny he could be. Some more color underneath the chin. We'd probably have some serious highlight pulling down the chin, or down the neck muscle, and on his shoulder there. I'll just take a little E00. Not even going to use much of this because I really like how this is working. I don't want to over render him. I really want to keep a lot of that open area of the paper to convey that shiny, plasticky skin. I'm going to come in with some R20. I want to rosy up that nose, around the nostrils, and around the tip, but I want to leave that little front part white, or the color of the paper. Through the bottom lip, maybe a little bit on the top lip, maybe a little bit pulling into the chin here, and a little bit here where the cheeks pull. And a little R11, a little lighter shade, to kind of blend the R20 in with all the other colors. Maybe a little bit in the brow there. And a little bit under the chin neck. Let's put a little bit in the ear, deeper in the recesses of the ear as well. For the hair, we really want to kind of keep it a bluish color, maybe a little bit bluish gray, but mostly blue, just because it'll convey more of a plastic feel. Is my initial thought here. That might change as we work. So I'll start with some B95. It's kind of a bluish gray to begin with, airing more on the blue side of the spectrum. Again, keeping that ring of light in his hair in mind, so barely cutting into that open part of the paper. Want to keep the center of it, the color of the paper, to maintain the brightness of the highlight running through his hair. Much like I did with Wonder Man, much like I did with Valkyrie, or even, you know, Robin or Chitara, any one of the characters that have hair that I've worked on in the past week or so of Post-it pop art videos. Pull it down to his sideburns, a little bit back there. I am going to come in with a little bit of neutral 4 gray just to kind of tamp down that blue just a little bit. Just a little bit. So now let's color his shades. We're going to work with neutral grays there as well. Neutral gray 3. I want it to look like a shiny sort of, it's almost like a shiny plastic metal. Are they plastic? Are they metal? Not quite sure. So I'm thinking of where the light would hit, and then the curvature of the frames themselves. And how would I translate that? And then going to come in with a little neutral 4, just for a little darker. Through this chunk here, just put some neutral 4 right through there. Creates almost like a chrome effect, where it's reflecting the world around him. And this part here is the horizon. So this would be a sky, this is the ground, that's the horizon. And that's how that's a real shorthand way of creating a shiny metal or chrome effect. In fact, to enhance that a little bit more, I'm going to come in with some light blue, some B01. I'm just going to color over that gray, that bottom part gray, with the B01 to shine it up a little bit more. Maybe a little bit of the B000 here on the top part. So we can mix and match and merge our colors to create new colors. Now let's see, now we got to do his lenses, and those can oftentimes have kind of a teal sort of look to them. So I'm going to start with a BG09, a teal, turquoise, greenish blue, aqua, whatever term you want to use to refer to that color. You can use just straight up blue if you want. You can use a mixture of green blues and regular blues if you want. So just coloring with a dark teal over those dark areas. Now I'm going to come in with a lighter shade. This would be a BG34. And just going to sculpt that in there like that. Now let's come in with some cool grays and kind of start to put some realistic shadows here on Plastic Man. So I'm going to start with some cool gray 2 and go right up there underneath that spit curl. And now it looks like that spit curl is really overlapping his forehead. Maybe a little bit underneath there, so it creates this drop shadow. Up inside the ear there, because the light's anywhere where the light isn't going to hit directly. So if something overlaps something, this bottom of the nose, it's the bottom, it's underneath. It's not going to get to the light, or the light's not going to get to it so well. Maybe where the cheeks of the mouth pull to the corners, right underneath that, his shades overlapping onto his face. There's a little bit of give there maybe. Definitely under that bottom lip. Just put a little bit there at the bottom of the chin. where the chin muscles pull. Maybe the bottom part of the cheek there. Definitely underneath the jawline there on top of the neck. That face is going to definitely going to create a shadow over that part of his neck. The light's coming down, it's hitting, but it's not able to get to there because this part's covering that. Use a little bit of this gray here in the bottoms of his lenses just to create a little more shape and texture. Maybe a little bit here where his brow is starting to pull up to that winky sort of ridge. Let's power that down to a little cool gray 1, a little softer, lighter shade of cool gray. If you ever feel like, oh no, I used too much cool gray, or I've used too much gray and I want it to tamp it down, if it's too dark, just go back over with that lightest shade of whatever base color you are using. You can kind of let the colors react to each other, kind of smooth each other out. Okay, let's see. Now that I'm looking at this, I think I want to come in with some light blue in his hair, a little B01. Just want to add some really light blue, pulling into that highlight, running through the top of his hair. Just gives it a little more color, a little more punch. All right, now we're going to do a fade here, as I often like to do. And I want to do something kind of different. I want to utilize some red because we're not seeing his costume and he's really known for wearing red. So I think I want to try to do a gradation from gray into red. So I'm going to start with some neutral gray 7. It's a very dark shade of gray. I'm going to try a little something different here. Really using a lot of gray coming into the background here. That's some neutral 7, and we're going to come in with some neutral 4. So see, usually I take it all the way, dark gray all the way from the top and work my way down, but I'm leaving some open areas higher up in my background. I'm pulling more dark further down into my background than I usually would. So I'm going to take some R27 now. I'm going to color over all of this gray and let those inks merge and react to each other and blend together. It's almost like I'm creating a red fade now from top to bottom, but I'm letting all that red cover over all that gray. And it's creating this reddish gray. And then a little R24, a lighter shade of red, as we pull down from the top to the bottom. And then we're going to pull down to a very light shade of red, bordering on pink, R85. Just as the red is fading out. A little R52. People are going to think I colored this on a red post-it note. We got so much red going on here. Now I'm going to come in with a little neutral gray 2. Drop some very light gray into these areas here. Now I'm going to take my, my Signo white gel pen for my finishing move here. And we're going to put that white outline, my signature white outline around the perimeter of Plastic Man, taking it right up to the line but not over the line. Don't want to lose the line weight. I like how this gives the character pop off of the color. I'm going to use this white here to put some highlights in the dark areas of his shades. Kind of gives it a little more life, a little more detail. And then all I have to do is, take my micron here and put my name on it. And today's date, I think today is the 30th. Is that right? Yes, the 30th of March. And there we go, Plastic Man on a light gray Post-it note for today's Post-it Pop Art Coronavirus Stay-at-Home Art Challenge. So let's flip the camera around and we can wrap up this video. Hey gang, let me just plug the phone back into the rig here. There we go. All right. Thank you so much for hanging out with me this morning, this Monday morning, March 30th. There's Plastic Man. And I will be posting a shot of him on all my social media, or at least my Instagram, Twitter, and Art of Todd Nauck Facebook page. You can find me as @ToddNauck on Twitter and Instagram, and then just search Art of Todd Nauck on Facebook. You should be able to find me there, and you can go ahead and like my page and maybe click a like on this illustration. And if you like what you saw here, if you like this live stream / replay video, please leave me a thumbs up. That's greatly appreciated. Feel free to leave a comment if you'd like. It's always nice to hear your thoughts. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, what are you waiting for? Just hit that subscribe button, then tap the bell to set your notifications to alert you when I schedule my next live stream, which most likely will be tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 4 p.m. Greenwich time, so you can join me for my next Post-it Pop Art live stream during this coronavirus stay-at-home season. Hopefully you're all staying well. Hopefully you're all washing your hands, not touching your face, maintaining distance from strangers so that we can all stay healthy and ride out this coronavirus situation. Hopefully you had fun drawing with me today. Hopefully you maybe learned a trick or two, I hope. If not, I really appreciate you hanging out with me anyway, and thanks for all the support. Thanks for all the kind comments. Sorry I couldn't respond to so many of them while I was drawing. But thank you for your support. And if you do post your illustration, be sure to use the hashtag Post-it Pop Art and tag my account so I can hopefully get a chance to see what you drew. Gang, thank you so much. Hope you have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow morning. I'm Todd Nauck. Keep on drawing. Keep having fun. Take care.